Good morning. It's oh man, it's busy and nothing to film at the same time. So we have got to go down to the seed warehouse. I've got a customer bringing a wagon load of wheat. We're probably going to try and treat that today. My priority this week is seed sales. We've got a big deadline coming up on Friday that I'm trying to beat, and so I'm sending emails, making quotes, hitting the road. We got all kinds of that kind of stuff going on here this week and this morning and all day. But yeah, things are going well. The boys got the corn sheller going yesterday. They got it cleaned up pretty well. I didn't show you that, but I had a whole bucket of ears that we have picked over the last month that they decided they needed to shell them. And Rylan, he got the wire cutter pliers out and cut my safety rope that I had on there to keep him from running it and sticking his hand in there. So fortunately I was right here, but we're gonna have to put a chain on it, I guess. Anyway, let's go. You can see my lawn fared fairly well with all the rain that we got on Saturday there. This was just there was water everywhere. Everywhere, I tell you. And it did wash some, just a little bit right here to my drain, and it ran across there and out into the field. But for the most part, everything stayed in place. And we seeded that grass. We actually put it in the ground, not just broadcast on top. So, I mean, there's still grass seed there. It should grow. We should be okay. A few more days, and we'll start seeing grass. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. We are indeed treating wheat. We've got a little bit of a unique setup there with an auger going into my conveyor, but they got an auger on their wagon. This is how we're doing it. So, yeah, it's all good. Treating into boxes. We'll put it right back in our wagon. This is going to go quick, and we'll be done. Just finishing up the last little bits, and we're done here. On to our next gig. We've got a couple of seed meetings this afternoon I've got to go to, so I don't know. We're not being super productive on the farming side of stuff today. But that's pretty. Looks real good. All right. Well, I gotta go do more seed stuff. I gotta go see a couple of customers. We should make it back in plenty of time to go do some other stuff this afternoon, at least some scouting and take a look at some stuff. That rain that we got on Saturday was pretty localized, not super widespread. In fact, the guys that I treated that wheat for this morning said they only had 4/10 out of that on Saturday, where we had 1.6. So we need to drive around and look at some of the other fields a little bit. We need to go up to the irrigated field. We've got pipe to pick up yet. That's kind of on my list of things to do, is finish picking up that pipe and getting the irrigation stuff put away. I don't know when Brock's coming again, but I'm kind of waiting for him to help me do that stuff. So we'll get that as soon as it's dry enough. Next week looks like tillage is going to get started, so we need to get that disc ripper hooked up to a tractor and put it in the shop and just make sure that everything's good. I think we've got a little maintenance to do to it and go through that. So maybe this afternoon we can get that put in the shop. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, we are going to head towards our Berkey farm, so we'll probably check in there. Dad was doing a little work on getting that dryer burner wired up yesterday. He went and bought some supplies today. I don't know that he's going down there, but we'll see where we're at with that project. That may be something we do later this week too, is work on getting some electrical stuff done. So anyway, that's where we're at. All right. Well, I stopped and got another seed order, so we gotta get that one placed, and we're in good shape there. I'm looking at some of our beans down here to Berkey. Thanksgiving dinner in the background over there. But yeah, let's take a look out here. I believe these are 2505, so a 2.5 maturity bean, which is on the early side, but they're not nearly as far along as some of our stuff up to Waldron is. We're definitely going to start harvest up there, not here. Hopefully we get into these the first or second week of October, first week of October ideally, because we want to plant wheat here. So we will see. We did not do a great job with our weed control down here. We've got a lot of foxtail and just... we have room for improvement. Let's just put it that way. We haven't got this whole farming thing figured out perfectly yet, but they're not horrible. But looking at the beans, you can see we've got thick, full pods starting to turn yellow. They're getting towards harvest, but I just feel like they're not potted up super heavy. They don't look bad. They just don't look great. So I'm cautiously optimistic on our soybeans. I think they're going to be good beans. I don't think they're going to be great beans. I mean, there's pods here. I like seeing those pods hanging off the top of the plant. I just wish they were potted heavier farther down there. So, but I don't see any white mold, sudden death, anything like that out here. So nothing that's really hurting the yields too much. I don't know. They just don't look great. These beans were no-tilled. All of our beans down here were, because it was too wet last fall to do the tillage work, because we just were terrible wet last fall. And it never dried out real good this spring, so we no-tilled them. I don't like no-till on stuff. I wish we could at least run the disc and knock the stalks down and break stuff open a little bit, get a little better seed bed. I don't know if that's why these don't look the greatest or not, but they don't look the greatest. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at our corn. 10L16, 110 day. It's drying right up, isn't it? We might be able to do the corn and the beans at the same time down here, just judging by the way this stuff looks. It's just probably not a great thing. We did get some rain here. I think we had 4, 5 tenths, something like that over the weekend. So some rain, but not nearly as much as we did at Waldron. Let's peel some ears back. This doesn't look super impressive, but we'll see. Is it bad? No. Is it good? Not really. It's okay. It's average. This is probably 175 bushel corn. The ears are short. They've got some girth to them. They've got some fat ears, but they're not real long. We got some tip back that we lost stuff when it was pollinating because we were dry in July here. So looking at the corn, we've got a milk line right there. I would call it 25%. So maybe a week from black layer. It is supposed to get sunny and hot the rest of the week here in the 80s for the next 8 to 10 days, I think. Maybe not quite that long. So I expect that to pretty well finish our crops off and for most everything to be mature after that. A quick check in here at the farm. Here's our other grain system that I wasn't going to come down here and show you yesterday because, well, it was too far away. But we're here now. So we've got a GSI top dry over there, holds 20,000 bushels. We have another old GSI top dry here that I think is like 5,000, 6,000 bushels. Maybe it's 7. That one might be 7. Because then those bins are 5,000 bushel bins. We put soybeans in that one, corn in the other one. There's another one over there that's 7. And we have a 3,000 bushel overhead here as well. Top dry systems here. So we've got these burners. This one here that blows air in underneath the false floor up there. That burner is new. We just put it up there a couple weeks ago. That's our project that we're kind of working on now. Dad is getting wire around and taking the old stuff out, trying to get this stuff ready. Holy cow, look how much wire is stuffed into that little tiny conduit. That's the old one that we're taking out. And my goodness, those are, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get those out of there, but we'll get them. They run over here to the old grain shed, and we are moving the controls and everything to the new grain shed, going from 220 volt burner to a 3-phase 480 volts. So, Dad's already got the control box out of here. We're working on a replacement for our grain temperature thermostat, and yeah, this is, well, cool. These are where those wires go. They have to get pulled out of there. So we are going to run a new conduit that goes from the burner up there down across into this building. And Dad's already gotten started in here. So we're going to come right across the top of the wall over to our 3-phase panel here, where we have a new 3-phase breaker that will go in there. And then the control box, the one that came out of that other building, he's got it mounted right up here. I'm going to put the temperature controller on there. That will work. Anyway, that's what we've got going on down here. We'll help Dad with that project at some point. I don't know when exactly, but That'll be a good one to work on. I'm done down here, so we're heading back to Waldron. We may make a stop or two on the way back if we can find some people around. There's a field of beans that's farther along than anything else we've got. I've seen one field that was a little farther than those even, that maybe later this week they'll be harvesting. Those are a week out at least. All right, we're back. Dad finished spraying with the gator sprayer today and getting it cleaned up. We're going to put a little RV antifreeze in it, winterize it, and be done with it. All right, well, we got it flushed through all the lines. Got a little in the tank there. Should be good. We can get that out of there. We got our new clutch. I don't know that that's the problem, but we sure hope so. It's fairly easy to change, so that's good at least. Well, it works, and we checked the voltage with it running. Anyway, we checked the voltage with it running, and we were getting over 14 volts with it charging and stuff. And with the old one on there, as soon as you would hit the mower deck, it would drop to 11 and it wouldn't recover. With it now, it dropped initially, and then it came right back up to 14 volts. So I'm pretty sure that this was our problem. But we'll go do some mowing with it, and if it gets hot and cuts out again, then we'll keep looking. All right, let's go take care of this thing. Then maybe we can go do a little crop scouting around here. It's cloudy and cooled off. I might have to go get my sweatshirt back. Just gonna put it there on that wagon for now. Usually we stuff it up there in the top of the kiln room. So yeah. Anyway, let's go look at some fields. Right away here, it is very obvious that our beans are farther along here at Waldron than they are down to Berkey. So we're definitely going to start harvest here and be here for a couple of weeks before we get down there to get those beans out, which is, I mean, it's okay, but we want to get those beans out so we can get the wheat planted. So I hope it's not too terribly late. This field over here, this middle field, those are our early beans. They're a 2-2 maturity that were early planted. Those are probably our first beans to harvest. So yeah, there's some brown showing there, but they've got a lot of green, yellow leaves to them yet. So I would say we're close to 2 weeks out on beans. Okay, we are going to walk out here. This is my early corn, 103-day stuff that was planted early. And once we get out into the field off the end rows here, it was not sprayed with a fungicide in this particular part of the field. We've got some strips here. I am really curious to see what the disease pressure looks like and how far along it is. The plants are dying off now. At this point, any disease that's out here is not hurting us anymore, but I just want to see how much it progressed in the areas that didn't get sprayed and what the leaves look like. How bad did it get? And now is the time to check that. Oh, look at this. About right there. So the sprayer, the Haggy, is a 120-foot boom. So we got 80 feet of end rows, so you got to come 40 feet out into the rows. About right here. That side got sprayed, that side didn't. Definite difference in a line right here. I can tell to the row. Look at the tar spot we've got. No doubt that that is going to make a huge difference in our yields. Absolutely. Tar spot clear up at the top of the plant. These leaves are dying off. A lot more dead leaf tissue. I should put the drone up. I bet there's a clear line right across the middle of this field. We've got some other, this is a great big northern corn leaf blight lesion. We've got some smaller gray leaf spot. There's another northern. Lots of disease pressure out here where we didn't spray. Doesn't make me feel good. Makes me feel better about spraying fungicide. It paid. It's gonna pay big time. That said, there are still some very nice ears of corn out here. I think all of this corn is going to be really good. It's just what's the difference in the fungicide? And I don't think we're talking about the difference between 150 and 180 here. I think we're talking about the difference between 210 and 240 maybe. We're going to have good crops. Let's break this apart and see if it's black layered. Awfully darn close. If it's not, I don't see a visible milk line, which is a pretty good sign that it is black layered. Let me look. Not quite. It is right there, but it is not quite. So what we would see if it was black layered, or I dropped my kernel. What black layer means is that at the base of that kernel, right in the tip here, you would get a little black formation, a layer in there that it turns black, and that is essentially when that kernel is cut off from the ear or the cob and no longer taking on any starch or nutrients. And I don't see that yet, but we can't be more than a day or two away from it, especially if we get some heat and sunshine. So I still think there's a possibility that we shell this corn in a week and a half, towards the end of next week, 23rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in that ballpark. So this field here is one I want to keep a real close eye on as the beans reach maturity and start turning a little bit more. These are our full season beans. They're 3.4 maturity, but I've got some extra fungicides out here. We've made a round or two out here with the V5 corn fungicide, put it on the beans early, and then we also sprayed a good chunk of this field at like R5 really late with a fungicide. So I'm really curious to see if these beans are going to stay green longer and hang on and potentially yield better because of that. But they're our full season beans anyway. Giant pile of chicken litter. And so they're not quite to the point where you're going to be able to see that yet. They're still majority green, just starting to turn yellow. So this is likely one of the last fields of beans that we combine. We'll see. They were early planted, so if the late planted beans hang green a little bit longer, maybe they'll be last. But yeah, these should be really good beans. I expect them to be our best beans, but I was just curious to see if they're going to be any difference where we sprayed that fungicide or not. I don't see anything right now. Let's take a look out here. This was some of the last planted corn. I believe this is 107 day right here, but I can look it up. It did not get sprayed with a fungicide. None of it got sprayed out here. So now this hybrid tends to be one of our more tar spot resistant hybrids. This is really good corn, which is part of the reason I didn't spray it. Part of it was because it was late planted. Part of it was this field's a pain in the butt to spray, so I didn't make them do it. You can see we do have tar spot, but not nearly as severe as in that last field. And this corn it's getting towards maturity too. We've got brown husks on it. So let's see where our milk line is at. That's not a bad ear of corn. I mean, yeah, we'll take it. So we do have a milk line here. You can see it just barely, a little less than a quarter of a milk kernel. It's getting close. By the end of next week, I think all of our corn is going to basically be mature. Our forecast over the next week is high 70s, low to mid 80s, and sunny basically every day for the next 7-8 days. Next Thursday, which would be more than a week out, is the next chance of some slight chance of rain. So I know that can change, but this weather goes away tomorrow. It gets sunny, it gets warm again, and it's going to make our crops mature quickly. All right, next field here. This one is 108-day corn, 08R52, that was planted early. This would have been the second day we planted corn, 24th, 5th, somewhere in there. This is the field that some lowlife decided to make some donuts in a month or two ago and run over for us. What it did was make easy access for me to get out here and into the heart of the field so that I can check it a little better. It did get sprayed with a fungicide at tassel. We used our Trivapro here, and I am seeing some tar spot, but it's too late to have done any damage, it appears to me. Let's take a look. Meh. I mean, there's nice consistent ears here. We may have this planted a little bit thick, which will give us some better yield potential because of that. The ears aren't super impressive. We got a little bit of mold on the tips of some of these, but nothing into the kernels that gives me a ton of concern. They're just short, stubby ears that aren't real big. Meh. We'll see. We'll see. It does have a nice deep kernel to it. Those are long, skinny kernels. So sometimes hybrids hide yield in kernel depth, and it doesn't look that impressive, but they still yield really well. This may be one of those hybrids. So we'll see. Again, we're just about to black layer. You can't really see the milk line there, but it is not actually black layered yet. I would have brought my tape measure, we can do some stand counts and do some yield estimates, but I forgot. Another day. All right, one more we're going to look at here. Let's take a look at this 10L16. This field here is one that we planted early. We put the Xyway in, which is a fungicide in our corn starter. And we did spray tassel fungicide on here, but this 10L16 is not one of my healthiest plants. It tends to get a lot of disease in it. Big flex ear on this one. So where we get thin spots, like where we're at now, you get these giant honking ears that hang off of there. But let's get out into the field where it's a representative area and not special situation there. Given what I know about the roots on this that are not great, and we sort of expect to see some root lodging, which is where the whole plant kind of leans over from the roots, the fact that I can see clear down that row, oh, that makes me happy. That is good. And I don't see a ton of disease out here. I did see a leaf or two with some tar spot when I was walking out here, but mostly pretty healthy here. Now it's dying off, it's drying up because the plant's maturing. We'll look at some ears and see where we're at milk line wise. I would like to see green healthy plants all the way through black layer, but I've not figured out how to make that happen yet. So this is what we've got. This is pretty standard, and I mean, we can still grow pretty darn good corn with what we've got here. Better. We still got some not so great ears, some aborted kernels in there that are those meh, all right ears. But then you got a couple like this that are really nice. So not as consistent here as the last field, but not as consistent kind of in a good way where you got some flex to the bigger side with some of these that, yeah, those look pretty good. We do have this one outlier here that is taller and not a real great ear, not very pretty. Big round kernels, just not super pretty. Likely that's a late emerger. Came up a day or two later than the other ones, and it actually grew taller. And while not a great ear, it still produced an ear, so that is good. There was another one down here that probably came up a few days late. You got this super spindly stalk with basically nothing of an ear there, so that we don't like to see. This one, meh, it's okay. But that is a nice ear of corn. I'll take that. More girth to this than some of the other ones, and there's a milk line right there, about the same as some of the other ones that we have seen. It's there, but we're close. This corn is going to change a lot. Here's that leaf I found with all the tar spot on it. This corn is all going to change a lot in the next week and a half. All right, I am going to go home and work on some stuff at my house. Thanks for watching today. Tomorrow, I think we're going to try and get that disc ripper out tomorrow if I'm not busy with seed stuff. That's still the priority this week because I have to get these orders placed here. But yeah, we got to keep working on other stuff too. So we might put that in the shop and start working on that a little bit. See what we got to do. So thanks for watching today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Questions, comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you again in the morning.